That's how Separate was born.
Hello everyone, we're here with the band Separate. Hey guys, it's great to have you here. Please tell us your name and what instrument you played.
Hi, my name is Chris Buckner, and I play the electric guitar.
My name is Brian Welker, and I'm the lead singer, and I played acoustic guitar.
Ricky Pike, and I was the drummer.
Stephen Kilpatrick, I played the bass guitar.
Joe Clements, I played guitar and keys.
Where did the band get its name from?
I remember sitting around a table at the old church, and we were going through scriptures about that would be relevant to find a band name, and we came across 2 Corinthians 6:17 says, "Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate."
So what inspired y'all to start the band?
I think it was 7 years, but me and Brian, we were part of a youth worship team, but there was a band called Among Thorns that was at youth camp. Those guys kind of mentored us, gave us the fire, and we played a lot in our home church. And so that's really, it was me and Brian. We started with some other people, and then we wanted something outside of the church, so then that's how Separate was born.
Fox 4 News.
And I am sure everyone has noticed all these nice gentlemen behind me. This is the Separate band, so tell us a little bit about them. We're going to be able to see them tomorrow as well.
Right, they'll be out there. They're a band called Separate. They've been together about 6 years, and they play some awesome music.
Okay, well, let's just hear that awesome music then, I think. Okay, this is the guys of Separate. Go ahead, take it away.
What was your funniest memory?
I think we should each all tell one, but my favorite one is when he kicked the water bottle in the auditorium in Woodville at the Eagle Summit, like it only 6 months old.
And then your dad, our manager, was pretty much on his hands and knees begging the people not to kick us out of the auditorium for day 2 because we still had a whole nother day to play.
I probably couldn't tell it on this interview because it's the stuff that happened behind the scenes. It was just this family of guys, and yeah, that was the best.
Hey, I'm recording. I'm recording.
What's up, dude? What's up? Where's your brother?
We're sitting there setting up, and all of a sudden the door right beside the stage opens up, and there's Chris just standing there. And we're all, yeah. Come to find out, he was standing out there for like 10, 20 minutes waiting for somebody to open up the door.
One time we were playing, I remember seeing Paul Ray. We just started laughing. I was like, what is he laughing about? I look over and Christopher's laying on the ground.
We had built boxes to stand on because we thought we were rock stars. I was standing on that box. I just got done playing a massive guitar solo, and these things were like 3 foot tall. I stepped off the back of it and just completely crashed. And Paul Ray's down there going, "Ah, you big dummy!" Personally, my favorite, funniest moments was probably when we played Inviter for a 5th quarter deal. We played on a stage about the size of what we're sitting on right now. My cousin Bill, he was playing with us, and somebody in the crowd said, "Do a guitar spin." So I did a guitar spin. I was about 3 inches away from knocking him completely out. He leaned over and said, "Don't do that again."
Can you tell us a story about one of your songs?
Probably give that one to Joe because he was a better songwriter. And tell the story about Fly Away because I think that was we did that song shortly after my uncle passed away, and that was the one I was thinking about today.
Well, it's a song I wrote way before y'all asked me to be part of the band. The way I wrote, or the reason I wrote the song is when you lose somebody, whether you think you're ready or not, it's hard. And so it's a way to kind of say goodbye and then tell the person how you feel, and the first line is, "When the flowers fade, I'll remember you," and it's just a real good song. And Brian was over the house one night and let's look for some new songs, and I pulled out my song book and he started flipping through there, and he's just kind of flipping through, and he came across that one. He stopped and looked at it. He said, "You care if we do this one here?" And I said, "Yeah." And then they took it and really made it even a better song, because I think everybody kind of put their own, spin on it and put their own heart into it, and just, brought it from here to here. And that's kind of where that song kind of came from.
How was the band funded?
We paid for gas mostly out of our pocket, but my parents did supply a van. And
This is the Vans Tour Band. And almost every weekend they would pack up all their stuff and go minister at churches.
And trailer and equipment until eventually we'd make money from love offerings. Basically, we didn't charge to go anywhere. Churches would take a donation and give to us.
How many albums did you make?
We made 2, and the first one was called "Calling Out Your Name." The second one was self-titled, and we never finished it. Like, we just did an EP, and that's what we were going to sell to fund, and then we ended up stopping a few months after it was done.
So tell us about your headquarters.
So I guess the headquarters would be the sound room behind my parents' house. My dad built the room. Actually, it used to be like a workshop, and he doubled the size of it and made a drum cage with egg crate all inside of it so the drums could be in it. And, we would spend hours and hours in there, and there's such great memories.
That's where we would learn new music, write new music. Sometimes just not even play music. We would just sit there and talk and just kind of vent about our day or our week.
So where did the idea for your first album cover come from?
Apparently in the early 2000s, every band had to take a picture on some railroad tracks or by an old truck or an old gas station. And that was the thing.
I remember whenever we would, after the show, we would get our CD signed. And, you know, Joe wasn't in the picture. He wasn't in the band at the time. So he would draw a stick man on there and sign Joe. Beside us.
First stick man.
It's Stick Man Joe.
Stick Man Joe.
If you could go back and do something different, what would you do?
I'd say, keep God first at all times. Just focus on keeping God first, and everything else, let everything else fall into place. I think a lot of times along the way, we probably lost that, at times lost that vision. I think we got back on it, but that would have been the most impactful thing to do. Just keep God first.
I just want to echo what Stephen said. I think keep God first, because I read these questions yesterday, and it took me back to a place when we decided to call it quits, because some of us were quitting for the right reasons. I was quitting for selfish reasons because I wanted to fish professionally and do these things. I was trying to make everything, and I ended up making certain things idols and almost destroying my life. And now I can look back on that as almost a 40-year-old man and realize if I could go back to 23-year-old me and tell myself, like, we had just cut the start of one of the greatest albums that people were actually listening to, and like our chance, and it wasn't about the fame, but we were starting to be heard more of the talents that God blessed us with. And honestly, like, if I could go back and do it again, I would still be doing it.
Yeah, I can't go wrong agreeing with you guys. The thing that I would say is more of a regret is trying to be something that we weren't. We started listening to Skillet, and Skillet's awesome. I love Skillet. They have a wonderful message. Disciple, melt your face off. Wonderful. But we weren't, and we aren't Skillet. We aren't Disciple. And for me, I was trying to become that, something that God did not have me to be. So if I could go back and change one thing, it would be the same, echo what these guys said, is to keeping God first and being who He created me to be.
And I guess I'll finish with one of our last songs that we wrote and recorded right before we disbanded was a song called Don't Forget to Breathe. And kind of like what they said, I would probably go back and I'd slow down and don't forget to breathe and remember the words of God and while we were doing it. And in hindsight, also, I probably wouldn't do anything different, because how we choose the course of our life, it writes history. And I got history right here. These are my children. And if I would have been on the road, I don't know that I would have ever got married. I don't know that I would have ever settled down. I don't know if I would have had these guys. And so we had our 10 years of just some of the greatest times of my life. And I wouldn't change a minute of it. I loved it. I loved it.
We're Separate from Silsbee, Texas.
All right, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight.